So in a previous video, I talked about why you should choose the A7C Mark II over the A7 IV, but in this video, we're going to do the other way around, wherein I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should choose the A7 IV over the A7C Mark II. So the first reason is the obvious reason. What separates the A7 IV from the A7 II, which makes it a lot more professional, is the dual SD card slots. So not only does it have 2 SD card slots, it also has a CF Express Type A slot. So most of the time whenever I shoot videos with the A7 IV, especially 10-bit 422, and I don't want to transfer the file into the computer, I find myself just plugging in the CF Express Type A card into the CF Express reader, and then I just edit off of the card instead of having to transfer it to the computer. It saves me a lot of time, especially when I'm shooting a lot of videos. I can just edit off of the card since it is a lot faster than a standard SD card. So the obvious advantage of having 2 SD card slots is that you will have the ability to shoot redundantly, which means you will be able to shoot the video into 2 SD card slots both at the same time. So let's pretend you are recording something very important, like say a wedding or a corporate video, wherein you won't be able to shoot that again if your SD card does mess up or something bad happens. So having 2 SD card slots just gives you a little bit of peace of mind. So if something bad happens, you will have another copy. At the same time, if you are using like maybe an Atomus Ninja, you will have 3 copies of the file, right? So redundancy is very important, especially if you're shooting professionally. So the second reason why you should consider the A7 IV over the A7C Mark II is just the beefier body. So if you look closely, the A7 IV is the clear winner when it comes to looking more professional than the A7C Mark II. If you will have one of those clients wherein they look at your gear a lot, the A7 IV will definitely look more professional than the A7C Mark II. But of course, the A7C II also has the internals of the A7 IV, so this is almost as good as this. Although, of course, it doesn't have dual SD card slots. So with the A7 IV, you get a lot more custom buttons. So the way I use it is that I use some of the custom buttons to toggle clear image zoom, or sometimes crop mode, or my zebras, or my focus peaking. But with the A7C Mark II, you have less custom buttons. So if speed is one of the requirements for the way you shoot, let's pretend you shoot a lot of weddings where everything just happens so fast, having additional custom buttons will just make your life a lot easier than having to navigate through the whole system with the A7C Mark II. So one more thing that the A7 IV's body offers that the A7C Mark II does not have is the joystick. So if you look closely at the back here, this one right here, this allows you to move the zone focus area using this joystick instead of having to touch focus. So with the beefier body of the A7 IV comes a lot more of an ergonomic and deeper grip. The beefier grip allows you to grip the camera a lot better, which in return also helps when you're mounting heavier lenses or bulkier lenses onto your camera. So like a 24-70 right now, it matches well and it balances well on the camera. Like there's a certain middle point wherein you can just rest all the weight there. With this one, everything just feels a little bit too front heavy, and it doesn't really grip well because first of all, it does not have as deep of a grip like the A7 IV. At the same time, the body is just not heavy enough to create a middle point of balance. So everything is going to be definitely front heavy if you're using a 24-70 with the A7C Mark II or a lens like a 70-200. So this right here is the Tamron 70-180. If I put it on my A7C Mark II, you can really see like it does not really look like it was meant to be attached onto this small body. But of course it still works, right? Because this is still full frame. But of course it's definitely going to be front heavy. But with the A7 IV, you can really see that everything just evens out. It looks a little bit more balanced, and at the same time it does feel balanced because it's not too front heavy, so you can have a better grip and you can last longer throughout the day. That didn't sound right. You will be able to shoot for longer throughout the day. So the third reason why you should choose the A7 IV over the A7C Mark II is the full-size HDMI port. So the A7 IV supports a full-size HDMI, which means you will not need any converters or any other dongles. But with the A7C Mark II, all you get is a micro HDMI. It's a very tiny connection there, and I don't really trust this connection because with my A6400 before, there were times wherein I was worried that the cable itself, because having it being so heavy, it might just pull out the jack, the HDMI jack or the micro HDMI jack. But because of the A7 IV's beefier full-size HDMI, I can rest assured that it will not break that port. And the fourth reason why you might want to consider the A7 IV over the A7C Mark II is the slightly better EVF, or the electric viewfinder. So with the A7C Mark II, there were times wherein I was like thinking, am I looking through the A6400 like a very old-fashioned or the old school viewfinder wherein it does not look as high quality as my A7S III, which is the camera I'm filming in right now. That one really has one of the best EVFs I've ever used because, of course, it's a much more expensive camera. But with the A7 IV, you definitely have a better view inside of this thing than the A7C Mark II. I can't really give you numbers right now because I'm not that technical wherein I know the dot count of the EVFs, but trust me when I say this, the A7 IV's EVF is a lot better than the A7C Mark II. And the last reason why you might want to consider the A7 IV over the A7C Mark II is that if you are like me, who's an A7S III user, and you're looking for another camera to match with it, and you don't want to buy another A7S III, the closest thing you can buy is the A7 IV because it has everything like dual card slots, exactly the same body, but with a cheaper price tag. With the A7C Mark II, you basically lose everything from the A7S III. So the closest thing that you can get is definitely the A7 IV. It's a lot cheaper, but of course, this has like 34 megapixels and the A7S III has 12 megapixels. This has the same as this one. So if you're looking for a camera that can match your A7S III without breaking the bank of having to buy another A7S III, A7 IV is definitely the clear winner for this. So those were just 5 reasons to consider the A7 IV over the A7C Mark II. In my opinion, both of these cameras are definitely not perfect, but they definitely do the job. They are very similar. In my opinion, they're definitely identical, just the body differences, but when it comes to image output, they're definitely the same. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.